What is up, guys? Delboy here. So Gilberto Ramirez defeats Jesse Hart by a 12-round unanimous decision. And the fight was very entertaining. Really good fight, thoroughly enjoyed it. And the right man won. Really good fight. When I made my preview video for this fight, I couldn't really pick a winner. I felt, although Hart was very unproven, I felt some of his attributes could give Ramirez a lot of problems, But it turns out that Ramirez and his pressure was just a little too much for Jesse Hart. In the first round, Jesse Hart fought how I expected him to fight. Sticking and moving, popping that jab, using his legs. And the first round, I felt he won. But in round two, he gets hurt, he gets caught with a big right hand and gets dropped. And for the rest of the round, Jesse Hart is on rubber legs. He's looking on the verge of getting stopped at times, and Jesse Hart he survives the round. Round three again, round 3 and 4 again. Ramirez applying pressure, landing some big shots, landing to the body and the head, and really pushing Jesse Hart back. At this point, it was looking like a matter of time before Jesse Hart gets stopped, but because he was looking very passive and he was looking very kind of submissive almost to Gilberto Ramirez, he wasn't really trying to fire back too much. He was just trying to keep him. He was just basically trying to keep Ramirez off of him. But yeah, rounds 3 and 4, Ramirez applying some big pressure. Rounds 5 and 6, although I felt Ramirez won them, Jesse Hart starts to fight. He starts to sort of let his hands go a little bit more on the inside. The right hand is starting to come into play a little bit more, which was Hart's best punch throughout the fight. He was definitely, he kind of abandoned the boxer role, and then he decided to try and trade with Ramirez, and that's what he had to do at that point. The boxing game wasn't working because he just wasn't keeping Ramirez off of him, so he decided to try and fight him, and that's what he needed to do. But again, rounds 5 and 6, did he do enough to win the rounds? I don't personally think so. Round 7 was a good round, I believe, from Jesse Hart. He landed some good right hands. I think there's a nice right uppercut which was landed again. And as the fight wore on, Hart was coming into it more and more. He was landing the right uppercut, the right hand in general. He was having some success on the inside. Again, Ramirez was still consistently outworking him on the inside with body shots, and things of that nature. But Hart was getting better as the fight wore on. When the fight started, when he got dropped, it was looking like the guy was going to get stopped. But fair credit to him, as the fight wore on, he got better, and he started to trade with Ramirez on slightly more even terms. In round 11, I felt Jesse Hart could have potentially buzzed Gilberto Ramirez, but he never really followed up on it. Maybe he didn't realise Ramirez was slightly buzzed, but he didn't follow up on it. He caught Ramirez with a nice right hand flush, and Ramirez kind of took a step back. And Jesse Hart never really put his foot on the gas after that. Round 12 again was a great way to end the fight. Both guys were letting their hands go. Ramirez caught Hart with some big shots, and he buzzed him at the end of the round. And again, it was more of the same, where Hart was fighting valiantly, but the work rate of Ramirez was just a bit too much, to be honest. And the scorecards, to me, were a little bit too close, actually. Hart probably won, 3 or 4 rounds maybe at best. I felt, for the most part, Ramirez, although he was getting caught with that right hand, he was consistently outworking Jesse Hart. And this fight wasn't that close, in my opinion. It was competitive, but it wasn't particularly close. There was always that danger element there with that right hand from Jesse Hart, but he wasn't doing enough to win rounds, in my opinion. Gilberto Ramirez was just the busier fighter and more sort of proficient on the inside. He was a lot more skilled on the inside than Jesse Hart. So the right man won. I felt the cards were a little too close. I was quite impressed with Ramirez at stages, particularly at the start of the fight. I felt in rounds 2, 3, 4, and 5 he was very good. As the fight wore on, he got a little bit gassed and started to sort of trade with Jesse Hart a little too much. Like the commentary team was saying, maybe Ramirez shouldn't solely focus on fighting inside, but he should also use his range, because he's a tall guy with a long reach. He should use his range a bit more, and we saw that against Arthur Abraham. He can box from range, but in this fight he decided to sort of come forward and work on the inside. Maybe that was because he didn't feel he could outbox Hart. Maybe that's how he felt he needed to beat him. And he got a result, so we can't really sit here and say he got his tactics wrong. Do you know what I mean? So, fair play to him. Great fight. Ramirez was the better man, and he deserved his victory. As for Jesse Hart, I would like to see him again. You know, he fought very well. He was game. He never sort of gave up, because there were stages where a lot of fighters would have thrown the towel in, and he didn't do that. So credit to him. I think his downfall in this fight, number one, he should have let his hands go a little bit more. But number two, he didn't have the experience necessary to take this fight on. I mentioned that in my preview video, where the level of competition he's been fighting has been poor. And did it really prepare him for this moment? He's not fought those sort of fringe level guys who will prepare him for this moment. He's fought basically all journeymen up until this point. And maybe that wasn't enough preparation for this fight. But he can come again. He's only 28 years old. He's got a future in the super middleweight division. I would like to see him again. I really would. And Gilberto Ramirez, he's going to be a troubling opponent for any guy in that division. The inside game, the work rate, you know, he's got some solid fundamentals there. So, great showing from both guys. Gilberto was a better man. What do you guys think? Peace.